Barbarian Warlord, well done, making it to the top of the tag team division. This is the best you've ever looked. Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry, gentlemen, I'm going to have to take that back. It's the new Warlord and Barbarian, the Powers of Pain. Guys, this is the best you've ever looked. Oh, wait a second. I've got to take that back. Who the heck are these guys? Hola amigos, it's Will here from Will's Custom Figures, coming at you today with a big bad breakdown, of course, none other than the greatest tag team of all time, the Powers of Pain, Warlord and Barbarian. So please guys, sit back and relax while I took you through how and why I made these figures and all the details in between. First things first, you might have seen at the very start of this video a couple of pictures and a couple of little introductions as to why I love and like this tag team. Now, why have I worked on this set? Quite simply, a really good friend of mine, Jag, if you've seen the other two versions of the Powers of Pain, has asked me to work on the future version, the past version, and the present version. So, as you can see, I've worked my absolute tail off trying to get this set done and to be as creative and as different and as unique as possible. So let's start with none other than Barbarian. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move Warlord out of the way and I'm going to bring in the other two versions of Barbarian. If you've not seen these, please feel free to check them out. You can see all of those on my Hasbro Retro WWE WWF playlist. Lovely. And look at this set together, looking absolutely beastly. 3 versions of Barbarian. Man, Hasbro, WWE, WWF back in the day, why didn't you do 1 version? You did Warlord, man. Why is Barbarian missing? I love this guy. Barbarian, I think, you know, he transitioned over to multiple different companies, the likes of WCW, WWE, WWF. He's worked on the independent scene, only recently retiring from what I understand. But as you can see, you've got the classic version here. You've got the old school version here. I've loved working on this. What I've tried to do is I've tried to add all of the body armor that Warlord has. As you can see, this isn't your bog standard Hasbro Warlord. I've done a whole video on this, but I've added the shoulder plates, I've repainted the whole thing, I've also sculpted all the little details on there as well. So there are a lot of the original figure on this one, a lot of the other ones I've amended a little bit more. And as you can see, I've tried to replicate that as much as I can here with Barbarian. So he's got the chains coming down his back, they are very big chains, but just slightly different. The mask is on the opposite side, and I've done the chains coming down the front as well. I thought about giving him a staff. However, my friend Jag had specific requirements in mind for his Barbarian, and he wanted him to have a bit like a Thanos sort of gauntlet. And it's school photo time, Barbarian. Let's see a big smile. I don't think that guy's smiling. And as you can see, really tried to capture the likeness and the realism and the similarity between Warlord as well. I'm really happy with how the mask worked out. It's almost like a Phantom of the Opera type mask, isn't it? The shoulder pads and everything else were made using Super Sculpey clay, as was the neck and the head attachment that you can see there. Really, really happy with the 3D head sculpt. Thank you to my friend Nick Clark as well for that. Really, really good head sculpt. Loving that. The paints I've used are Vallejo paints. I've used a lot of browns on this beard, pretty much every brown in my collection, to try and get it looking as accurate as possible. But for the skin tones, I've used Vallejo, Leather Brown, and Citadel's Kislev flesh colours. They've got really, really nice. They also have Cadian flesh tone and all these other flesh tones. But yeah, I've found that leather brown tends to be the best mix. Now, I have repainted, fair play, all of this sort of the motifs, the designs. These aren't decals. I've hand painted everything there. As you can see, even on the front of the boots. Probably should have painted underneath the boots there, but still, this glove is made completely from clay. Really happy with that, how that turned out. Very, very difficult. And of course, look at the belts as well, guys. B and W. I had to get that in there. Really, really happy with how that's turned out. And let's bring in Warlord. Man, what a handsome chap he is. I don't think he's going to be smiling either. But as you can see, a lot of the similarities and a lot of the little differences as well. We didn't just want this to be a carbon copy. That would have been quite easy to do. Mixed it up, used the British Bulldog body for the Barbarian, as I have with the other 2 Barbarians as well. Very specific requirements from Jag on his action figure that he wanted in his collection. I think a staff with a B on would have looked pretty cool, but I'm really, really happy with how the gauntlet turned out. The eyes and everything else have all been hand painted in full, as has the beard for the Warlord. There is a full review of him, but you can see, man, look at those eyes. Beautiful blue eyes. And let's have a look at Barbarians. Now, to work on the eyes, I do them in 3 stages. The first stage, I paint the entire eye, everything, completely black, because that gives you your eyelash above and below the eye. Then after that, I repaint the whole on top of it in white, leaving a very, very small sliver around the edges. After that, I add, obviously, the pupil and the iris, finally ending it with a tiny little dot. As you can see, it's usually the top right side of the eye. I love that. That's my thing. As well as the mouth, I also paint that completely in black and then highlight the teeth slowly but surely. And I only ever use one set of white when I'm doing the teeth. So I'll put my paintbrush in the white paint. I'll then use that for the front specific teeth. And as the paint gets less and less that's on the paintbrush, of course, they're very, very fine paintbrushes, I use that going further and further back, and it sort of adds like a nice little fade. I don't know if you can see that there on the teeth, but yeah, really happy with how that's turned out. And also the black, having the darker colours there, really accentuates the white teeth at the front. On both the teeth and the eyes, I'll always use a varnish gloss to make sure they stand out. I don't use that on the whole piece, but I've used that on the armour, the eyes and the mouth. And just in case you haven't seen it, here is all 3 of the Warlords looking large and in charge. Very, very cool, man. I just can't put my finger on which of these 3 that I love and enjoy most. I'm so happy with all of them, from the face paints, obviously on the classic version, to the hat and the mask on the What If version, and then, of course, the absolutely brilliant W staff, taking me back to my childhood, watching Warlord dominating all the tag teams in the WWF. I absolutely love this set, and I'm surprised that no one else has made these, especially the original Powers of Pain and then the singles run, in retro format, how I've made them with the shoulder pads, staff, and the original Powers of Pain outfit. Of course, Mattel WWE figures. They've done a lot of great elites. Let's just move these out. Here we go. It's the moment you've been looking forward to. It is, of course, the new version of the Powers of Pain versus the old school ones from my previous videos. And as you can see, these guys, oh my God, absolutely brilliant. I'm loving how all of these look. What a great idea. I never had any idea when I started making wrestling figures that they would turn out like this and that I would end up having a set like this that I'd made. Yeah, it's mind-blowing. And then if I bring in, of course, the classic version of the Powers of Pain as well, so you can see them all looking at each other. Do you know what I've just realised as well? Warlord really does look an awful lot like Tom Stoltman, the world's strongest man. Oh yeah, representing Scotland. But yeah, God, these are looking great. Who would win? Let me know. Can't wait to hear your feedback. And who are your favourites? Everything from stripping off the mask on here and then adding the hair, cutting off the hand and putting the gauntlets on, putting the shoulder pads, all the furs and things. Man, this has just been such an enjoyable set of action figures to work on. I can't be more grateful to work and to do something that I really, really love, a hobby, and for people to actually care and want to see it and want to own some of these figures. And here we go, guys, bringing this video to a close. How would I rate these? What are my final reflections? Well, for me, the Powers of Pain are a tag team that stand the test of time. I think if you brought these guys around today into AEW, WWE, or any other product, I think they would absolutely excel. But less about that and more about these figures. I've put every drop of sweat and blood I possibly could, all my creative skills that I've built over the years, into this set of 6 absolutely one-of-a-kind, brilliant retro Hasbro wrestling figures. What would I have done differently if I could do it again? Guys, if I'm honest, I really don't know what I would do to make these even better. I wanted to pay tribute. I'm so happy that they're going to my good friend Jag, who's picking them up this weekend. Very, very good friend of mine. And we used to train and wrestle together, as I mentioned earlier in the video. But for me, this personifies and captures all of the what ifs. Everything that possibly could have been with this tag team, from the original to the past and of course, to today's video, to the present or future versions of this tag team. And with that being said, guys, please let me know what you think of this Triangle of Terror, this trio of absolute devastation. Which is your favourite? Is it the new school? Is it the classic? Or is it the what if versions? I can't pick myself. I'm really, really sentimentally attached to all of them. Man, nothing's going to beat the classics, the originals. I love those guys. But hopefully you like the ideas, the creativity, and all the different thought, effort, and I guess the engineering that's went into each one. It has not been an easy set to make. How would I rate them? Too difficult to say. I'd give them minimum a 9 out of 10 though. I really like how they've turned out. Please let me know in the comment section below what you think. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'm available on Facebook, Instagram, or here on YouTube. And if you want a set of these in your collection, please feel free to reach out. What's next for the channel? I've got Brutus. I've got Greg the Hammer Valentine. I've got the Dream Team. I've got Luke Harper, aka Brody Lee, rest in peace. I've got Edge. I've got so many other legends to come. So please stay tuned. It's been a pleasure working on this set with you over the last, 6 to 8 months. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. From me, from the Powers of Pain, version 1, 2, and 3. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Adios.